Welcome. Thank you for being here for another episode of the We Speak podcast. Thinking of dropping some merchandise, maybe some basic t-shirts. But anyway, I hope you enjoy the episode, alright? See you guys. Welcome to another episode of the We Speak podcast. Today I got my good friend Jeffrey on here joining us today. Jeffrey, how have you been, man? How did we meet? Do you want to tell the people how we met?
Of course. First of all, thank you for inviting me on the podcast.
Yeah.
I've been seeing everything that you've been doing, the progress on the videos that you've been posting, and it's something to admire, like the hard work and dedication that you put into it. And hopefully this podcast can keep growing. We met each other through work at Kishwaukee Hospital, our local hospital. And we just clicked right away. I feel like we got to, talk about sports. We talked about UFC. And, just such a great guy. And just having that Latino connection, I feel like also we related on a lot of stuff. So,
sure.
So I've known you for, it's been almost a year, so.
Almost a year.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, man. No, and I honestly really do appreciate everything that you said, really, because, like, I am trying to, put work into this, and I've said it a lot, like, it's not really to, like, blow up or anything, it's just, something to do with, like, good people, good friends, and, But, yeah, man, that means a lot, really, I appreciate it. And, it's been almost a year since we met. We did meet at NM, Kish Hospital. And no, I agree, man. We had a connection right off the bat. But do you remember our first interaction?
I remember you had a mullet.
Oh, yeah.
The mullet's coming back right now, but...
Oh, there you go. That's a clip.
It happens. We're going to have to clip that. No, I remember the first day I met Jonathan, I don't know if you were volunteering or if you were doing transport, but he had his longer hair. And I think that's the first thing I remembered from you. And then just getting to work, we'd cross paths and we just started saying hi. And you know how easy it is for like dudes to just like every time you see each other, you say hi, and then next thing you guys know you're buds. So
yeah,
I feel that's kind of like what happened with us.
Dude, I think so too, honestly, because do you want to tell the people like what you do at the hospital?
Oh, mine's open too.
Smart, dude.
Yeah, no, I had to get it out the way. Right now, what I'm doing, I've been at NM. I've been at the hospital for almost 3 years now. But I kind of went little by little to where I'm at now. But right now I'm what they call a health unit coordinator. So it sounds fancy. It's really being like a secretary, glorified secretary. But I'm on the medical surgical unit. So I just needed to make sure that patients' information and medical records and their procedure, paperwork, everything is scanned and looking nice and neat. It just facilitates the work for, the nurses and doctors. So, but I've been there for almost 2 years. In June, it'll be 2 years.
Wow. And honestly, it's a big role, man. A lot of people try to underplay it, but it really is like a big responsibility because your department is like the core for the hospital. You have access to all this information, and it's in your hands, and I feel like under the wrong hands, it could just go wrong. But you seem really responsible. You have great work ethic. Like, you're always there. You're always picking up shifts, I see. And you work long hours some days, man.
Yeah.
So I got to give it to you, man. I respect your work ethic. I respect that, you care enough to, take care of those patients and their information, everything, and help out the doctors and, everybody else on that unit. So honestly, I feel like that's a really important role when working in a hospital, man. So I hats off to you for that, really.
Yeah, the higher ups of the hospital, they like telling us that we're like the comptrollers. Like we help out. You know how like in planes and the airports, you need people who guide.
Oh yeah.
You know the planes when they land. They
Yeah.
call us that because we do have a specific role, but if that's not done correctly, a lot of things can go wrong. So there is, I mean, like you say, you know, it's important, and everyone has their role, and they're all important to facilitate, to facilitate everything for the patient. So it's kind of slept on, but yeah, we do a lot.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, I love that NM kind of has that that going on. That I don't know what to call it, but that's like what they're all about. You know, they try to make it to where everybody understands that everybody plays an important role to, you know, for the patient's needs or their care. It doesn't matter what role you're in, what position you're in. Every single unit counts. Every department counts, and I love it. You know, that's the way I see it. That's the way I'll always see it, no matter where I go. Everybody does their part. You know.
Right.
So, but yeah, man. I mean, I was gonna ask you, like, I know you're into boxing a lot. I think when we first met, like, we were talking, like, we were kind of figuring out things that we had in common, and I know you mentioned you were a boxer. Mm-hmm. So what inspired you to get into boxing, and when did you get into boxing?
Boxing, when I was little, I had a mixture of sports that my dad kind of, I'd kind of say, like, enforced me to do, just to keep me out of trouble.
Okay.
You know. Yeah, no, I was a funny kid growing up, so I was mixed in a lot of stuff. But Dad put me in soccer and boxing, and it definitely gave you a different perspective when it came to the discipline. You know, you gotta make sure you're on top of things. You gotta make sure you train, you eat healthy, and you know you stay dedicated to the sport, or else you won't get the results that you want. So the passion for boxing, when I was little, I remember watching a lot of Floyd Mayweather,
really? Okay.
A lot of Manny Pacquiao, not Rafa Marquez, Juan Manuel Marquez.
I'm not sure who that is.
So yeah, you gotta look him up because he's like one of those classic throwback Mexican fighters.
Dude, yeah.
And just watching those three, really, when I was growing up, it really motivated me to be like, you know what, let me try to dive into it. But I also did soccer in high school, which was a bit tough because freshman and sophomore year, I was part of the team, and I had to learn the role that I was gonna be on the bench for a bit, just because I wasn't as good as the rest, and it really kind of played with my emotions, and I had to really know how to handle myself. But then junior, senior year, I played varsity level, and senior year I got injured, and I didn't finish the season, but I was still part of the team, and just being able to be part of that group, it makes you feel like you're part of like a family almost, because you're in there like every day practicing with them. So I have a lot of great stories about the team, and I still talk to a lot of my friends. A lot of them ended up playing at the collegiate level too.
Okay.
So I don't think anyone went pro, but yeah, they've all gone to. A few of them have gone to play college level ball. So it's a little part of my story, I guess you could say. Sports, yeah, sports is awesome, man.
I hear you.
It's a great discipline.
And no, I'm sure, you know, the discipline is huge. You know, like you said, like just overall staying in shape to get the results that you wanted, man. Like in boxing, I'm sure it's tough. Like I've never done it personally. I think the most that I've done is like wrestled, any form of like mixed martial arts. But I get it, man. Totally, it's hard work, and you know, the better you want to get at it, the more work you have to put in. But I definitely want to ask you, how do you feel like the boxing community itself then and now has like impacted you, like your perspective on it?
The boxing community,
because you know there's a lot of like influencers.
Yeah.
Stuff going on
yes, with the influencers, man. It's a bit of both, I think, because Boxing I want to say after Floyd and Manny left the scene, there hasn't been like a true like guy that gets all the attention for boxing, and it kind of fell off for a bit until like Canelo got a little bit more popular, and you got a few other fighters that brought eyes to the sport again. But for a few years, it had been very quiet, and not a lot of people talked it. And that's where UFC came in, because UFC started blowing up, and there's like a little rivalry going between UFC fans and boxing fans, because it's like boxing fans are like legit throwback classic fights, and then these guys are taking on the scene, and the boxing fans, they're like, oh no, we're still the top of the fighting game.
Yeah.
But you know, you got the influencers, you know, like Jake Paul, and I think Logan Paul's doing it, and then KSI and all these other guys. And it brings attention to boxing, which I'm okay with, because you got now younger kids and other people that are like, oh, let me deep dive in influencer boxing, and then they see professional boxing, they're like, oh, let me check these guys out too.
Okay.
So it kind of does help the sport.
Yeah.
But you know, times are changing, so people have to evolve with it too. So
I hear that.
yeah.
No, I hear you 100%. And speaking of like evolving, that's kind of how I view music, because you know, my favorite artist of all time is Lil Wayne. Will always be Lil Wayne. I know a lot of people probably don't listen to his kind of music, 'cause it's a little hard on the edges for sure. But I guess it's like how you perceive things, you know, like, because you know, he talks a lot about like women and, you know, money and all that stuff. But I see it as kind of having those moments where you just feel confident, like you feel like you're the man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of pumps you up, it pushes you, it inspires you. Also, he's really lyrical. So, but anyways, like, music will always evolve, and the reason I believe somebody like Lil Wayne in music is still, you know, considered to be at the top. He's always going to be recognized as the best rapper, even by all the new upcoming rappers. Future generations have been inspired by him. So he even said it in one of his interviews that like, music is always going to be music, and you have to go with it. Like, you can't say, oh, I don't like this age of music, because that's music and it's always going to evolve. So the reason he's able to kind of connect with all these new generations is because he understands it. And like you said, like, boxing's always going to evolve, and you got to kind of like
go with it.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
dude, and Lil Wayne's been part of the game for a while. I don't think we realize how long he's been part of the game. I think maybe at this point, maybe like a good 20, 25 years, around that.
For sure.
So at this point, I think he's a mentor. You know, so all these other rappers coming up in the game get to see like the stuff that he's done throughout the years. Like, his music catalog is very big, so they can take inspiration of that. So that's kind of like what boxers and these new upcoming fighters need to do: take a look back at what worked with the other guys and try to implement something new, you know?
No, I hear you, because it's like, I've heard rappers say like, man, I made a song with Lil Wayne, like, I can just stop my career now. Like, I made it. No. So I kind of think of that, like, if you fight somebody like Floyd Mayweather, Canelo, or Manny Pacquiao, like, your career is pretty set, you know, like, and Logan Paul did do that, you know.
Mayweather, I think it was a 10 or 12 round fight.
Yeah, something.
And I remember vividly, like, at the end of the fight, he was like, I didn't get dropped, so that means like I was toe to toe with the best boxer in the history of the sport. Like, dude, it was an exhibition. I'm like, it's an exhibition. You're getting paid, I don't know, loads of money, but at the end of the day, it's like, we all knew he wasn't gonna take a dive, you know. So
no, for sure.
But yeah, man, like, the whole music industry, and there's similarities to like sports and music and film, where people can take a good look on the product from the past, to make something fresh, but still relatable now.
Yeah,
you know?
like with anything, really, like, you can innovate or you can create new ideas based on old ideas, you know, and that's how people get creative nowadays, because innovation has just become big. And I feel like with everything you can evolve, you know, and I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, you know. I think, you know, by all means, but I did want to kind of go back on the boxing thing.
Yeah.
So did you hear? Was this a real video that Manny Pacquiao? He announced that he was gonna fight Floyd Mayweather in Japan.
Yeah.
Is that real?
I saw it on Instagram first.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where I was at. I think I might have still been out on the trip that I was on.
Oh, we gotta talk about that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about. But I saw like on Instagram, I was like breaking news. Manny Mayweather 2 in Japan. I was like, how legitimate is this? Because we're talking about dudes that are like in their mid 40s, you know. So, like their conditioning, their punching power, their jaw, like all that is like thrown out the window. Like these guys are like not. They shouldn't be fighting anymore. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I don't think they should be doing that, but. I mean, the way that the first fight ended, Mayweather won by split decision.
It was controversial, right?
Very controversial. Yeah. And I thought Manny did enough to take it. But honestly, running it back at 45, 46 years old, if there's a lot of money involved and the production is good, I wouldn't mind. Just because, again, we're talking about eyes on the sport.
For sure.
So it's going to be like a very big event and everyone's going to be there. So
for sure.
I don't know. But I don't know how legit it is though.
Yeah.
Because I think there was rumors about that happening and then it's been quiet. So unless they're like getting ready to announce something,
yeah,
I don't know how legit it is. But it'd be nice.
Yeah, because like I know Francis and Anthony Joshua are set to fight. Like they did the face-off right away. Like they got right into it. So we know that's pretty legit. They're going to do it in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So
Saudi Arabia's taken over.
They are, yeah, they're popping off for sure.
I think they need to start making a bit of partnership with UFC again, because they had like the Abu Dhabi fights, right?
Yeah.
But like if they brought more stuff out there, I mean, either way, they're kind of international now, UFC.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know the UFC just started bringing fights back to Mexico City. They're gonna do one in February. I'm actually thinking of going because Brandon Moreno's fighting.
He's actually going to be in that card?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was going to.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I'm like, I mean, they have to have like all the big Mexican guys. Yeah, what's that other guy?
Yeah, Rodriguez is on there.
Yes, Rodriguez. He fought, didn't he fight?
Volkanovski.
He fought Volk like a few months ago before the rematch with Islam. Yeah. So, he's entertaining too.
Yeah, oh, for sure. 100%. And, I don't know if Alexa Grasso is going to be in there because she's the current Mexican female champ right now. But yeah, it's looking like a good card. Yeah, and I think they just brought it back to Canada. Excuse me.
Toronto, right? Was it Toronto? Yeah.
But somewhere else, I'm thinking I'm kind of blanking on. India. They're looking into India, yeah. Okay. They're going to be taking it to India.
I think that would be like the first time they've ever done it in India, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. And I'm interested, like, are there Indian UFC fighters? That'd be pretty cool. Shout out to my Indian homies, by the way. You know who you guys are, man. Come hoop, bro. You know you guys can get this. Sorry.
You and the hooping, I don't know.
Yeah, man. I hope.
He's legit. But yeah, no, and they're still doing like fights in Australia too.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, and that's the thing that I'll give Dana. Like he's set everything up for UFC perfectly, where now they have like a growing market in every other country. Boxing doesn't have that. We just have Vegas,
Vegas is the mothership, though.
Yeah, the biggest fights go down in Vegas, and then
MGM Grand, right?
Yes, the MGM Grand, or if you go to Madison Square Garden in New York.
Yeah.
But those are literally the only places. So now that they're doing it in Saudi for the big fights, it's okay with me.
I mean, you never know, man. It could keep evolving. With more time, it could just evolve more and more. And I think it will. Honestly, I have high hopes for that. By the way, do you have any New Year's resolutions or anything like that?
Man, I have a few, but I don't know if I'd want to call them resolutions.
Okay. Well, what have you been working on?
I feel like in the past maybe 3-4 years, I'd have that mentality of, these are my New Year's resolutions. And there's like this one statistic thrown out there. I just saw it the other day, where on January 17th, right? It's like the third week of the first month of the year.
Yeah.
people start dropping their resolutions.
Yeah.
Like it starts ending and people give up and they start going back to that, routine of, failure and just being stagnant. So I told him off camera I didn't want to do it as New Year's resolutions, but just goals that I have and do the best that I can to achieve that.
Yeah.
Because the whole New Year's resolution thing for me, I'm like, man, like let me not jinx myself,
I feel that.
But
so how do you stick with your or your goals in general? Like how do you stick with them?
And man, there's a lot that goes into that because I've dealt with a lot of stuff and like personally, like with mental health and like situations with my family and relationships, but you still have that that goal that you have to try your best to accomplish, and nothing can take you away from that. So I mean, if you really have something that you want to work on, it might take a while, but you really have to try your best to make it happen. So I just want to be more consistent. I had a few goals that I wrote down on my notebook, and this year it's all about being consistent in any aspect. I got to be consistent in work and school. Tell my family how much I love them and spend time with them. Keep being the good person that I know I am, and then keep working on being a better person, because
Okay.
you can always grow in certain areas.
Absolutely.
The gym, I want to make sure. Right now I'm 186 pounds, and my natural weight.
Dang, I weigh less than you.
Yeah, you weigh less than me now.
Well, I lost
Crazy.
it,
I'm so funny thing. The heaviest that I have ever been was 2 summers ago. I weighed in at 220.
Wow.
220, but it's like a sleeper 220. Like you couldn't really notice I was
like
220.
Yeah.
So I was like a heavy guy, but you couldn't tell I was heavy. So now I'm like 186. My back doesn't hurt as much as it used to. My knees, So I just want to be. I think I want to drop off all the way to 165, 170ish. That's my goal for this year.
Okay. You probably had those bombs, dude, at 200 pounds boxing.
Honestly, yeah. Like when you're heavier, and when you're not dealing with cutting weight, your hands, everything, you feel much better. But then also if you have that weight, but it's not like the right weight, you feel sluggish. And
Facts.
so that's why I'd rather be at a lower weight and focus on that,
I hear you. So you kind of mentioned something about mental health, and I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think about men's mental health, like, from how it was before, like in the past, many years ago, to how it is like nowadays? Like, do you have any input on it?
Yeah, in school last semester, I wrote a 15-page essay.
Wow.
On men's mental health.
Wow. Dude.
So I have a lot to say about that. It's definitely like a stigma. It's kind of like a topic that is like so taboo, and people don't want to touch it because it's like, oh, men need to be strong. Men can't be vulnerable.
Yep.
Men shouldn't speak on their feelings, But then there's a certain point where when you keep so much in, you crack, and then you see all of these people getting lost and doing things that they shouldn't, or end up, to the point of taking their own life. So, man, woman, it is important to address your mental problems and your feelings, because you don't want to be found in a dark spot, because it can be really hard to get out of that.
I hear you.
You know. But yeah, mental health is very important, and there has to be more awareness, I feel like, on men's mental health. I'm not saying that they need to prioritize that, right? Because I mean, you in general, you want everyone to be aware of it.
100%.
But men's mental health is so slept on It's like, man, dudes need to speak up too. Like, we can't
For
just
sure.
bottle it. I remember my dad would tell me about my grandfather,
Wow.
about how his grandfather would tell him, don't you ever let anyone know how you feel. Um, like, bottle it in,
Wow.
be a man. And it can help you in certain situations, but it can be very difficult if you're going through like a heavy problem, and you just, because of what my grandfather said or what my dad said, now I need to live up to that and not speak up. So you have to.
Yeah, no, I hear you 100%. Like, it is a big stigma, when they say that, like you said, men shouldn't, seek out help or anything because it could be shown as a sign of weakness, and men always have to be tough and everything like that. But, and it's still pretty common in some societies, some cultures out there that stick to that kind of stuff, like, or even like the man is the one who goes out and he's the breadwinner, and the wife kind of like stays at home and cooks. Like, I feel like that's still common, but not as common, because cultures adapt to like different, systems, belief systems and whatnot. But yeah, no, I hear you 100%, because, me myself, like, I kind of just, and this is kind of like opening up to you guys, like, I never really had like that father figure growing up, and if I did have somebody there, like, they were kind of mostly like, I guess alcoholics, if I'm being totally honest.
Right.
So I kind of saw it as like, drink up, keep everything inside, and don't speak of it, so I did a lot of that stuff, but, as I got older, I kind of figured out how to be my own man and just stick to my own beliefs, kind of like breaking out of that system. So, but I hear 100%, like, the more you bottle things in, it becomes a lot of pressure, and it's hard to dig yourself out of that hole, and it's not easy, and, having somebody there to talk to, somebody to relate to, like, it really does help, honestly, and I think it's good. I feel like there should be more organizations that, kind of bring more awareness to that. And again, not just like men's mental health, but like for anyone, mental health in general. Like, I think speaking up is better. And I mean, we speak.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you're right.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with speaking up, man. I mean, it's cool, and especially with people you trust in your life. And so that's why I imagine, like, with your dad, speaking about his father, that person that you look up to the most, I would say, like, is telling you this, like, you want to kind of follow that, like, that's what you want to go by, so I can imagine it being, maybe a little tough, but it's great that he kind of passed that on to you, so now you have that perspective to kind of make your own choice in a way,
right.
Be your own person. But so how did that make you feel, like, when your dad told you that about your grandfather? Like, because a lot of people, it's just a lot of people don't even know their grandfathers, but how did that make you feel?
I feel like there's also something different when it comes to our culture, like Latino, Mexican culture, to be more specific. Yeah, we have that same old school mentality, like, you can't speak your mind, like, you gotta be strong. Like, if you can't show emotion, you can't cry. So it's like, there's been a few times that I've seen my dad cry, but that I can recall, like, he's told me this and that. Like, it's very limited. And mainly, I do think it has to do a bit with what my grandfather told him, and if you don't fix that along the track, you're leading other people in a wrong direction. My grandfather was very, strong, cutthroat, and he wouldn't show emotion, and my dad kind of had something like that going on with him. But he would sit me down and we'd talk about life, and
That's awesome.
yeah, and like, when I was little, he wasn't really around as much, and because he was working, like, he had to provide for, for us, for the family, he had to
100%.
provide food. And same thing with my mom. They were I don't want to say they were like in and out my life really, but in the beginning it was a bit rough because they had to focus on work to pay rent. So either I'd stay home alone, or my grandma would take care of me. but it was all in good faith. They wanted better for our family. But yeah, my dad definitely changed his perspective on showing emotion and talking to me. So when I was in that rough patch in my life a few years back, he was able to talk to me and take me out and just to keep things off of my mind. So we definitely need that someone that we can trust. And if it's a father figure, even better. And I know in this case, you didn't have one, but you do have people in your life that you can say, dang, like he's a great role model or she's a great role model, and use that to your advantage to open up to them.
Oh, for sure. I hear you, man. And, this is probably a big reason why I kind of sit down with my son and have those talks. And yeah, he's 7 years old, but I can tell he's listening, like that. And that to me is just awesome, like that I can pass down things that will help him or just give him ideas and like perspective on things. I feel like that's just so important, like sitting down and having those talks with your children and your whoever it is really, and being able to come to an understanding about things is huge, honestly. But so I mean, I kind of want to ask you. You don't have to share if you're not comfortable. But like, so what kind of things were you going through when you mentioned that you were kind of in those? And again, you don't have to share.
No. This is definitely. So I came on this podcast because we were gonna have a good dialogue. So I'm not gonna be the one that's gonna be like, we can't touch this topic or not. We're gonna do it. I feel like it's very good to give a bit of detail of where I came from and things that were in my mind back then, because you never know who might see this video and they can take something away from it, right?
Like know that they're not alone. Type
thing, yeah, right. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff, man. In high school.
I'm sorry. Like, what was that one big thing?
The one big problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll definitely tell you. I think the biggest issue I had. There's a few, but comparison. First of all, comparison. When I was in high school, I didn't necessarily have everything that other people had too.
Okay.
So, and I didn't look a certain way. I felt like because I didn't have so many minutes playing on the field that I would be treated a different way, and I wanted to be seen in a different light. And when all of these things don't go your way, you start thinking, man, like, am I not good enough? Like, what's going on? And the comparison aspect, definitely, what I would do is look at other people and what they would wear, and their phones, and I remember, this makes me feel a little bit old, but I remember the Beats. They're probably still big now, but the Beats headphones, and I'm like, man, like he's got the Beats on.
Wow.
It's and there was like even a sense of jealousy that I wanted what that person had. And I can't have that because, I didn't have a job back then, and my parents didn't have that money to be like, sure, go buy these $200 shoes or headphones. And comparison, like they say, comparison is really the thief of joy. I would see other people that were in a better position than I was financially, like my parents. They would have like a good job and they would have a good life. And I didn't have certain things that I would be like, damn, like they have that and I don't.
Honestly, so, I can kind of just relate to that really quickly. Like growing up, the thing for me was like seeing kids with back then it was like Abercrombie and Hollister, and I'm like, dang, I'm over here. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna get Famous Stars and Stripes, which is like this clothing that you can get from PacSun. It was kind of like that skater phase thing. But no, I hear you on that 100%. And people started getting the sidekicks, like they would flip over the Razors, the Razor flip phones and everything. I remember that. Sorry.
Dude, that's a big throwback though.
Yeah.
That's a while back.
Yeah.
Dude, man. Like, cause I remember those Razor flip phones.
Yeah.
So now, and that was like when I was barely like, I think, yeah, I was like in elementary school, and those were like, or middle school too. So it's like, you're making me feel a little bit old. But,
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Man. It's all good.
But
and not
yeah.
to say that like, you know, the kids who did have those things and the parents who are in a better position, not to say that they don't have their own struggles.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like we're talking about like what we kind of experienced, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. My dad even told me that. I'm telling you, like this guy.
Very
when it
wise.
comes to when it comes to speaking facts, like, man, yeah, he sat me down once because he saw that I was like very pissed off about a certain situation in school, and he was like, "Why do you have to compare yourself to other people?" And he said, "They don't notice how," and I'm not saying that they don't notice, but he was like, "They're living a good life and they're focusing on themselves. Why are you so focused on them? And then at the end of the day, you won't make any progress. You're going to stay stagnant."
Wow.
Because you're just so focused on what they're doing, you don't see that you're falling behind. And that, to this day, like, it stays with me.
For sure.
And I'm
That's
like,
powerful
damn,
stuff, man.
yeah, like, I'm so focused on whatever, you know, Johnny is doing that I don't realize all the problems that I've got.
Facts.
And then at the end of the day, he's going to resolve his, and I still have my problems. So it's like, it's like, wait, like, I got to get my stuff together. So
That's awesome, dude.
yeah, but he was telling me that, and I think to this day I've been living life that way, thinking about, like, don't compare yourself to others and just focus on what you have to do. When I went back to school, it's like, man, a lot of my peers are working in their bachelors right now, and others in their masters. And I'm just starting. So I could be like, dang, like, I wish I was with them and focus on what they've got going on and what they've achieved, and then not finish what I need to do. Or I can just grind and focus on myself and make it happen, you know?
That's the right way to do it, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I hear you on that. Like, one, what your dad says, very wise, very powerful stuff. And, you know, when I first met my dad recently, last, September, I kind of realized, like, okay, this guy's pretty wise. Like, so it made me want to, like, open up more, like, listen to him. So I feel you on that. And also, the whole, like, going back to school thing and, like, you're seeing your peers go off and, you know, do those things. I hear you, because I myself started late. I think I've told you, like, a lot of my friends have gotten, like, their bachelor's degrees and they all have their jobs set and everything. So props to them, you know, 100%.
Yeah.
But I kind of always had that feeling that I'm falling, like, behind, or I'm being left behind, you know. But I never took action on it. Like, I didn't graduate my senior year of high school. So for many years after, I was just, like, lost. I like to say, like, I was just completely lost. I was blind. Didn't care about much, you know. I was just out there being a savage, you know. But, you know, my son came along, and then a few years after, I kind of started, like, thinking more, like, what am I doing? You know, I wasted so much time, and, like, how can I gain this time back? Little by little, I found what I wanted to do, and, like, I said, you know what, I don't care to compare myself to anybody else. Like, I'm just going to do my thing, focus on myself. And, you know, all this time later, and I'm going to tell you, it's going to be rewarding, bro. Like, when you get there, it's going to feel so rewarding. I promise you, man. And I hope to be there every step of your journey, like, with you. Because honestly, like, I want to see you grow. I want to see everybody grow and get to where they want to be all the time, man. And like I said, man, like, it can be hard, but stick to what you're doing, and eventually you'll see. Like, I'm sure now, like, you don't even think about, like, what they're doing, really. You're just happy for them, you know. But you're gonna be even happier when you get to where you want to be at, man, for sure.
Yeah, man, thanks. Like that,
Yeah.
dang, like, it makes me honestly, like, emotional. It hasn't been easy, man. Like, I've been through a lot, and I'm like, me being here right now, like, it's a blessing, and I don't take anything for granted, you know.
And I thank you for taking your time, bro, because I know how valuable people's time is. Like, I really thank you for being here, like taking the time to be here for me. Like, I really appreciate that, man. Honestly.
Yeah, of course. No, when you told me like, hey, hop on my podcast, we can talk about this and that, and I'm like, dude, yeah, let's do it now. Like, let's go on our break and let's do it now.
In the what is it?
The renovation room. Or is that what it's called? Renovation? I think it's called the renovation room.
No,
that's like a little room where people go lay down and they can I think it's like a sleeping room, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was called something else.
They can dim the lights and yeah.
It's basically two like recliner sofa chairs where you can chill, and there's like what is it called? The little steam that comes out.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know
the essential oil stuff that comes out or something. That's a nice little area in the hospital.
We might have to ask for permission and record there.
Yeah, I know.
Because I feel like that would be a good setup. Like a little small, very intimate area.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would be a great spot to.
Yeah, I was serious when I told you, like, dude, we can do it there too. Like,
I don't know if I caught on to that. Like, are you being serious?
I would have done it.
Bro, it would be so funny if we did that. Yeah, we probably got like written up.
Probably.
What are you guys? Someone like comes in, knocks the door. What are you guys doing here? We're over here doing a whole segment on like a 40-minute pause.
Hell yeah. But so you recently just went to Europe, right?
Yeah.
You went to Paris, and then I keep forgetting. You went to Spain.
Yeah. So I was in France and Spain. So I went to Paris and Barcelona and Madrid.
How was it, dude? Tell me about it.
Man,
thank you for bringing me back that Eiffel Tower. Yeah, dude. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I brought him a little souvenir.
I wish I brought it.
Yeah, you could set it up next time. Whoever you have on the pod, make sure you have a little.
I got you.
Eiffel Tower there. I mean, it was a great experience, man. Like being able to, what they say, go across the pond and get to witness the beauty of a different culture. You know. I think where we come from, it's very rare to be able to find someone that says, "Oh, I went to Paris," or "I went to Barcelona," I went to Europe, you know, because we don't have it like that. Like we focus on work, we focus on family, and you know my family, my parents are both they're not legally here, so. For them, they can't travel, you know, they can't go back to the motherland, and then me being able to achieve all these things in my life, it's like they're living their life through me, so it's their happiness.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I like once I made it out there, you know, I was so happy, and at the same time I was like mixed with emotions, like, man, like I'm so happy that I have this opportunity to be out here. But it was great. A lot of good food, good drinks. They have good drinks there too. The environment is really nice. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do it again.
Okay.
Like go back again. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's a lot of good stuff. My mom, she paints on canvas. She likes painting on canvas, and she just canvas? Likes so like the I don't even know how to call it, but
is it like
art. Yes, the big boards, and I think it's called like oil on canvas. I'm not familiar with the art terms, right? But she likes art. Okay. You know, she likes Picasso and Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera.
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh, she has a tote bag with the Van Gogh stars.
I love it. I got the Chicago skyline as the Van Gogh Starry Night.
Yeah. It's like iconic stuff, you know. So she told me that when she was younger, when she was like in Mexico, her dream was to go to the Louvre Museum in Paris.
Wow.
Because they have a lot of like recognizable, like iconic pieces of art. And
is that where the Mona Lisa is?
That's where the Mona Lisa is. Yes, in Paris. So when I go, I FaceTime her, and when I FaceTime her, she starts losing it. She's like happy, and she tells me that like thank you. She told me thank you for for accomplishing my dream of going there. And that just, man, that got me teared up. Like once I hanged up, I'm like, man, these people have done so much for my life that, one day that's my plan to give back to them, because, like, I don't know where I'd be if it weren't for them. So even me going on that trip, it was just so significant. I know other people, and that's the thing that I don't understand. I don't know if they'll understand. For us, it's like a big deal. For a lot of people, it's like, just save up for, half a year and we're out of here. We're going. But it doesn't always work like that for us. So it was definitely something special. And I wish I had more time out there so I could take it all in. Right. But I was out there 14 days, and it wasn't enough. So, yeah.
Well, I always like to say, man, like when I do like a cheers, I don't know if you want to do a cheers, I always say...
A Topo Chico cheer.
I always say, do it for those who never had a chance.
Right.
Like, think about that, man, who didn't even have the chance, like, cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers. Yes, no, and... There's a lot of monuments that we visited. I went with a friend of mine, my childhood friend. This is the guy that I've known since I was 3, 4. Our parents are very close.
Is it the same one that you went to the movie with?
The movie?
Yeah, the Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes. No, that's another friend. I have 2 very close friends. I have my movie friend where I go to see every movie with him.
All the way in the front?
No. This was the one time, and we'll get into that. But those two guys are my guys. I don't know where I'd be without them too. But yeah, we can talk about friendships in a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, no. We went to, like I said, I went with this childhood friend of mine. Mm-hmm. We went to the Eiffel Tower. You guys might not know where these places are, but we went to Notre Dame. Sacré-Cœur Montmartre is the highest point in Paris.
Oh, wow.
And there's a cathedral at the top, and the view from the cathedral to the city is amazing. It's you gotta go there. It's a very well-known place. They got food there and souvenirs all over the place, and just entertainment all over the place. Where else? Well, we went to the Louvre Museum. I skipped on the Arc of Triumph.
What's that?
It's a famous monument in Paris.
The Arc of Triumph.
We'll have to look it up so you can see, but
okay.
It's very well known, and we just couldn't find time, and that's what I'm saying. I need to go back. And in Barcelona, I guess the most well-known place is La Sagrada Familia. It's a cathedral.
Okay.
And it looks very nice. It towers over the whole city. That thing is humongous, and they're still working on it to this day.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna finish years from now, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they have a certain date that they want to finish it, but they've been working on it since I don't know when.
Yeah, man. And I think they actually pushed it back further.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. And just the environment of Barcelona made me fall in love with that city. The nightlife is great.
Wow.
They have music all over the place. The people are very nice. You got a mix of bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
You got a mix of North African, so Moroccan. There's a very big Middle Eastern community too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and it's very nice. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go there again, just because there's a lot of things to do there. And Madrid was nice, but we only did that for one day.
Okay.
So again, I think I might have to go there again.
Definitely.
I got to go to it's called the Santiago Bernabeu. It's the Real Madrid stadium.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
The soccer stadium, and that was my childhood dream, because I grew up watching Real Madrid, and being able to go into the stadium and touch the trophies, and it was a great experience.
That's awesome, man.
So I don't know. Maybe in the future you'll catch us going somewhere. I mean, I don't
Maybe.
know.
You never know,
Yeah,
man.
or even
Honestly.
travel here, would be nice.
Honestly, yeah, man. I feel like we'll always be in touch.
Yeah.
Like for sure. If you're going to Spain, dude, we'll go to Spain. I mean, years from now when we're,
Yeah. Yeah. Once we achieve, the certain goals that we have, and
That's true, man.
make it happen.
we do have a lot going on, man. Like, so how is school though? Like, how's life in general? Like,
Life right now, it's been good, thankfully. I don't know if I had mentioned this to you before or not. I've only mentioned it to a few people because I'm not so open about it. My family knows and a few friends know. 2023 in my life was probably the most important year of my life, and the one that I achieved the most in my life. The drive and the discipline that I had last year is the one that I want to go into this year and keep throughout. Because, like I said, I was very stagnant in my life until I decided, you know what, I need to do something about it. I don't want to stay back and not accomplish anything.
Yeah.
So last year, I got the car. Remember, we just talked about it. I got my new car. My other friends bugged me about it, but I always had a janky old iPhone 6.
oh wow.
I couldn't get rid of the iPhone 6 because it had the home button, and I'm a big fan of the home button. So Apple needs to bring that back. That feature was, the best in my opinion. But I got my new phone, which is, I'm still trying to figure out a lot of things on it. And going back to school, I just had to jump on it, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of living a life that I don't really want. So I was like, we gotta enroll, and I enrolled to community college, and slowly but surely I'm getting my things together, and then I, of course, to end the year, I was able to go on this trip. So, I mean, last year was so good, but this year has to be better. That's what
always
what I want to. Yeah, I mean, this year, so far, today's the 17th.
already.
And you know what they say about the 17th that I told you. They drop a lot of stuff. So it's like I'm locked in. I'm locked in, and I'm focused.
It's good, man. Honestly, and I think a lot of times when I would come to your workstation, I would mention man, today I'm not having the best days, but it's a process. You can't expect every day to be great and amazing. Everyone's gonna have those days as long as you're sticking to the process, because I mean, it gets tough, honestly, because especially if you're overloading freaking me on classes in a semester, dude.
Don't tell me about
It gets so hard sometimes, and but yeah, man. I mean, for anyone going back into school, it's hard, But as long as you're sticking with it, you're getting everything done. You're prioritizing things in your life. I think that's what matters. Even if you're having a down, bad day, just keep going. That's all I can say. But I do have some final questions for you. Just a couple.
For sure.
So here's one.
Man, he's gonna put me on the spot. It's gonna be something super out of pocket, and I'm gonna be like, oh, nah, I'm just kidding.
They're not. You're good, bro. But if you can go back to relive one moment of your life, what would it be, and would you do anything different if so?
Yeah. I think the opportunities granted, you definitely need to take seriously. In high school, I just didn't do everything that I should have done, right? And that's something that I can relate to you. I actually, I didn't walk my senior year. I was very undisciplined, and at that point, I was juggling 3 jobs at a time, trying to make things happen. I just focused in school. My relationship with my family was a bit rocky for a bit. So just going back and fixing that. If I could have, done something different back then and not have to deal with all that pain and struggle, it would have been great. But you grow from that and you learn from it.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if I'd be where I'm at today if I wouldn't have made those mistakes. So it's
hard.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. So if you were in a room with everybody that you ever met, who would you go look for?
Oof. The one sandwich guy that I met in France. Nah, I'm kidding. No. Shout out Antoine. He knows who he is. I don't know if he'll ever see his.
Send it to him.
Yeah, I mean, no. I think my dad, man.
Okay.
My dad, and yeah, my mom or my dad. I think those two, have made me who I am today. And I mean, all the people that I've met, yeah, I can go and find, my friends and stuff, but first, family comes first, and, I have so many traits of them, and, it has to be, for sure, one of them too.
For sure. Well, I want to say again, thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate your time. Hopefully, you can get on again sometime, and then we can run it again.
Yeah, we can definitely have a part 2, and keep talking about life experiences and whatever we've got going on. But
appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. I mean, it means a lot being able to be here and share stories, stuff that I didn't even know about you. So, and hopefully one day we can run it back. But I'm wishing you the best in everything you do, and that the podcast can grow.
Appreciate you, brother.
Nice.
Same for you, really.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you guys again next time. Awesome. Dude, that was good shit, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that.
Dude, we will.
That was pretty fun.
Not bad, right?